This is the Black Lives Don't Matter podcast. That's what I said. Black lives don't matter. What kind of up podcast is this? Black lives don't matter? Really? Man, who is this dude? Black guy? Wait, so a black man got a podcast called Black Lives Don't Matter. It's like President Obama waving the rebel flag. I done seen it all now. Maybe this is what it takes. Time to shine the light on all the times black life didn't matter. Talk your truth, brother. Listen up. Let's get down with this. Because if black lives really mattered, we wouldn't need a movement. Now would we? For full episodes, subscribe to Black Lives Don't Matter, where you get your podcasts.
Hey folks, what's up? Welcome back to the Black Lives Don't Matter podcast. I'm your host, Deron Harris. Welcome to the show, folks. So I do this podcast every now and then because there are things in the black community that I think a lot of us overlook because we're not necessarily trained on that. And I also do this podcast to inform people that there are forces out there that are actively working against us to try to keep us oppressed and subservient and subjugated in, or even relegated in, the spaces that we are in. There is an election coming up. This is an election year. So I also use this platform to inform people that they need to go out and be active and vote. They need to get out and be proactive, not let things slide, not let things slip under the radar, but to be proactive and go out and take control of our future. Like I said a moment ago, there are many forces that are working against us every single day, and they work tirelessly to try to keep us where we're at, to try to keep us down, to try to make us into permanent second and third class citizens. We can't stand for that. We cannot have any of that. There's been a lot of things in the news as of late that have not necessarily piqued my interest, but kind of upset me, so to speak. There are people out here that don't want to see us succeed. There are people out here that simply want us to die. They don't even want us to go away. They don't even want us to be here. Think about that for a minute, folks. There are people actively fighting for that. We have politicians that refuse to say anything about neo-Nazis marching in their streets. Nothing. Nothing at all. It doesn't matter how they terrorize people. It doesn't matter how they treat people or how they talk to people. It doesn't matter what kind of hate they spew. They have a forum. And they're allowed to march through the streets unchecked. But the moment we organize and march through the streets, there's a big deal. This needs to stop. This is unnecessary, etc., etc. There's such a huge double standard in this country when it comes to our people. And we can't stand for that anymore. We cannot stand for the double standards that they have placed on us. But I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to tell you why this is our fault. And that's because we give them the power. We give them power. We give these the power by letting them live rent-free in our heads, by thinking that we need to integrate ourselves into their societies, that by thinking that we need to integrate ourselves into their ways of doing business. We don't have to do any of that, folks. We are quite capable of building our own things. We're quite capable of being a self-sufficient people. We're quite capable of standing on our own too without any help from anyone. Our problem is we lack organization. We lack unity. And those two things right there, I hate to say it, those two things are the most crucial things to our people right now. Unity and organization. Simple as that. We need to unify and we need to organize. But people get afraid of that. So they do everything in their power to prevent that from happening. They use all kinds of tactics. They even use money, and they buy people to put out things for us to follow. I mean, they have hip hop stars. Kodak Black is one of them. I don't know the other dudes, but they got stars out there making songs for a candidate that supports white supremacy or won't renounce it. We have actual black people going forward with voting against their own interests. I can't understand it, especially after you look and see what Project 2025 brings. And it's a big deal. I don't know if I've talked about it on this podcast before, but Project 2025, if Trump wins, that's a big deal. And I'm telling you straight like this, if Trump wins, I'm out of here. Simple as that. Just like he said, if Kamala wins, he's moving to Venezuela. Bye, motherfucker. But I'm going to tell you what, folks. These people are not going to go down without a fight. And they're damn sure not going to go down without cheating. All right? Listen to what I'm saying, y'all. These people are actively cheating. They're trying to cheat. They're in cahoots with so many hackers and so many other people that it'll make your head spin. They are trying the best they can to fix this election in favor of Donald Trump. It's hard. It's going to be hard because Kamala is right on his heels, if not right neck and neck with him. If not, she's past him. Right on his heels, right up there with him. And he's honestly feeling a little bit of pressure. And you can see this. This is obvious. The attacks that they launched, they really don't stick like the attacks on Joe Biden. The attacks that he launched against Joe Biden, them things stuck and they stung a lot. But the same things, the same tactics don't work against Kamala. They just don't. She doesn't let those things get to her. She does not let those things deter her from what the objective is, which is to save us from dictatorship. Do you understand what that is, folks? Do you understand what a dictator is? I mean, this guy wants to give immunity to the police. Look at what this guy just did to Sonia Massey. That guy would have got immunity under this guy's policies. And we got people like Kodak Black supporting that. Thanks, homie. Simple as that, man. Thanks, homie. So she meant nothing to you. That whole thing was just irrelevant, huh? If it ain't you, it don't matter, huh? Because that's exactly how it seems. It's exactly how it seems. All the things that we go through in this country, all the things that black people go through in this country in order to just survive on a daily basis. You got people like Kodak Black endorsing somebody who wants to keep us subjugated. That shit just is ridiculous to me. I just don't understand it. I've got no respect for that at all whatsoever. I don't give a fuck how many records you sell, how deep your street cred is. I don't give a fuck about none of that, bro. If Trump wins, you are going to see the systematic demise of the black culture in this country. And every black person out there that voted for this, every black person out there that voted for this will be your fault. You will have helped contribute to the downfall of our race in this country. You will contribute to the setback of our race in this country. Tim Scott, Clarence Thomas, You guys actively contribute to the demise of your own people. That is disgusting and vile. And I don't understand how you motherfuckers are in office. I really don't. I really cannot see it. I mean, I love all people, man. I love all people. But I especially love black people, man. I love black people. And it hurts me to see other black people do things to hurt other black people, especially like in the political scene. I mean, Republicans vote to cut school lunch in inner cities a lot. They vote for stuff like that. And if you're a black Republican, then you vote for that. You vote for that. You vote for no school lunches or less funding for school lunches or less funding for schools in urbanized neighborhoods. Neighborhoods where people that look like you reside, and you vote against aid for them. And then you jump on the bandwagon when somebody says, oh, I've done more for black people than, no, No, you haven't. I'm tired of white people saying that they've done more for black people than black people. I'm tired of that. I'm tired of all these presidents jumping up and saying, hey, let me get your vote, while they sit and do nothing for us. I'm sick of that. And we just frivolously give it to them. We jump on the bandwagons and we give it to them. And in cases, I'm no different, because I vote with morality. I don't vote for business. I vote for morality. What is right and what is wrong, and who is doing the things that are right and who is doing the things that are wrong. Okay? Right now, as I weigh the two candidates out, I'm seeing Donald Trump doing a lot more wrong than right. And behind that, I just cannot support that. I'm sorry. And behind that, even black Republicans, behind that, it's your fault that this is happening to us. Instead of advocating for us like we need, you advocate for the opposite, like we don't need, in hopes that you'll have your little place at the table that they've set for you. Disgusting and despicable. Unacceptable. This is why it's important for us to get out and vote, folks. Because if not, we get things like Tim Scott. You know what I'm saying? We get officials like that. We get people like that who don't necessarily care about their own people. It's a shame, folks, and it's getting to the point where we're getting closer and closer to the time where we're going to have to stand up as a people and make a decision and draw a line in the sand and say we will not stand for white supremacy or a dictatorship. We're going to have to stand up to that. There is going to be a lot of trial and tribulation. People are talking about, if Kamala wins, civil war, which is a big deal. That's a big deal, folks. That's hurtful to our country. That's hurtful to democracy, and especially hurtful to black people. Because this is the only reason black and brown people are not welcomed here. Simple as that. Black and brown people are not welcomed here. They talk about the migrant crisis at the southern border down here, but they'll let as many Ukrainians and Russians into the country as they could fit, because they're not black or brown people. It's okay for them. Yeah, we can rescue the Jews, we can do all that, but we can't do anything for the people of Congo. You see how that works? Folks, they don't care about us. They really don't, at least not in that forum, not on that level. Now, I'm sure all of us have friends that we've grown up with that are down with us, that we love. My best friend is, blonde hair, blue eye guy. Love him to death. Loves me to death. That's my man. If I rob a bank, this motherfucker is riding with me. But in the political forum, there are a lot of people who don't care about that. There are a lot of people like J.D. Vance the hypocrite that he is, there's a lot of people out there that are just doing what they can, throwing shit at the wall to see what sticks. And they're running with it. Don't let these people discredit us, folks. Don't let these people dictate to the world who we are. We need to stand up and start showing people who we actually are. We need to get rid of a lot of the mentalities that people generalize us by. All of this fake hair and nails and bougie bad bitch vibes, this thug mentality, this hyper masculinity. We need to get rid of all of that. That is not us. That was something that was indoctrinated into us by the policies that were made by people who did not have our best interest at heart. And that's as simple as it is. Because you can't tell me that if we had the same school funding, if we had the same amenities that they have on the white sides of town, that we'd be in this same predicament. The reason why we're in this predicament is because we have been denied so many things by them that we've had to resort to survival mode against each other. And we tear each other apart. And they sit there and they point the finger at us like it's our fault, when actually it's 100% theirs. And it's not just happening here. It's happening in Africa also. Trump once called Africa shithole countries, but then recently turned around and said, oh, my friends are very interested in Africa, and everybody's interested in Africa. Elon Musk, all the rich white billionaires are interested in Africa, and the reason why is because of the resources. And we're sitting here looking at the little shiny objects that they're flashing in our faces, while secretly, or really not even secretly anymore, they slide right underneath us and take our resources and take them right on back. France has gold. France don't have no fucking gold mines. They have more gold than you can fucking fathom. Africa is being attacked by everybody, and it's being attacked economically. They're coming over and taking large swaths of Africa and disregarding African people, the tribes, people that have grown up in the regions. They are disregarding these people so that they can get rich off of our backs and the resources that came from the continent where we originate from. Those are our resources, not theirs. They would be really mad if some Africans went up to Russia and started digging around in the dirt for some oil. They'd be really mad if some Africans came over to the United States and went to Texas and started digging around in the dirt for some oil. They'd be real upset about that. So it's time for Africa to be upset about it. It's time for them to stop taking the money and realize that we have all the resources that we need right there on that continent. We don't need the validation of China, of Russia, of Brazil, the United States. We don't need the validation from anyone. They're already showing you how viable Africa is by trying to move there and do business there and uproot and destabilize the whole continent. Look at what they're doing. They're trying to destabilize the entire continent. There are people in the Western world that are painting some of these African leaders like monsters, because they want the world's sympathy when they go in there to take their resources. It's a damn shame. It's a giant game, and we have to learn how to play it. We have to start learning how to play this game. They've got a huge head start, but we could catch up if we stop fucking around. If we stop fucking around, we could catch up. And I'm not saying we need to catch up to try and beat anybody. We need to catch up so that we're not pushed around anymore, and they know and recognize that they cannot relegate us into shit, because they do not control or govern us. And right now, they do. All over the world, right now, black people are still subservient to white people. We are still second class compared to white people. and falling further down, because now, the new minority of choice in the United States is Asian. And that's just the way it is. The Asian minorities are now being coveted by the white communities because they identify with them more closely than they do with us. And that's the truth. That's just what it is. I'm not talking bullshit. Go out and look at it. Go out and see for yourself. Go out and see for yourself. Look at the opportunities that Asians have compared to the opportunities that we have. Just go do the research yourself. Go and look for it. Go look yourself. It's fucking obvious. It's fucking stupid. It makes no sense. It's insensitive. Am I mad at Asian people? Fuck no. Am I mad at white people? No, not really. What I'm mad at is the system that has been put in place. And that system can be changed. But the people in place are the ones that are trying to uphold this system. We have to get out from underneath the rock, folks. We have to get out from underneath the thumb. We have to get out from underneath the knee on our necks. When are we going to start? When are we going to stand up? When are we going to rally and then continue to rally, as opposed to rallying and then going to Popeyes, eating, and then forgetting about it the very next week? We need to stay diligent and put it right in their face that we are not going anywhere. We are here. You must deal with us or not. But make no mistake about it. We are no longer afraid. We are no longer afraid to confront you. We are no longer afraid to stand up to you. What you have to say holds no relevance in our communities. Period. And we need to learn to convey that to everyone. Respectfully, of course. But that's what I'm talking about. People need to learn to respect that we are who we are, and we are not going anywhere. I'm Deron Harris, and this has been the Black Lives Don't Matter podcast. And I do this podcast because black lives still don't matter. Because if they did, I wouldn't have to do this podcast. Peace.